Good morning, everyone. My name is Kayla. I'm an organizer with Matahari Women Workers Center. And before we get started, we could just introduce everybody who's on the line.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ana Cipoleta. I'm a leader and a member of Matahari and a member board of directors.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Anastasia Kuna. I'm a member leader of Matahari and We Dream in Black, and also I'm a member of the board of directors of Matahari.
Good morning. My name is Angela Foster. I'm a member leader with Matahari Women Workers Center, leader with We Dream in Black, and a member of the board of the Nanny Council and National Domestic Workers Alliance.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Erika Perez. I am a member and a volunteer with Matahari, and I'm also one of the Spanish English interpreters with Matahari.
Good morning. My name is Audrey Richardson, and I'm a lawyer with Greater Boston Legal Services.
So thank you all again for waiting for us to get online. We're excited to be here, and Anna is going to start us off telling us about what we're going to do today.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome everyone to our Domestic Work is Always Essential Work Matahari Facebook Live. My name is Anastasia Kuna. I am a member leader with Matahari and We Dream in Black, paid overtime. Who is Matahari? I'm going to talk about who is Matahari. Matahari Women Workers Center is a Greater Boston organization where women of color, immigrant women, and families come together as sisters, workers and survivors to make improvement in ourselves and society, and work towards justice and human rights. Our goal is to end gender-based violence and exploitation. Today, we will be having a training on immigrant workers' rights and learn about how Matahari, our worth wage claim campaign, campaign is supporting immigrant workers during the coronavirus. If you're interested in learning all of your legal rights as a domestic worker in Massachusetts, you can watch our Facebook Live in English and Spanish from March 19th. And we also did a Know Your Rights training in Brazilian Portuguese with Nannies in Action on Facebook, live April 8th. There are many ways to get involved in Matahari campaigns that impact your life. And if you would like to become a member, please contact Matahari lead organizer, Julia Bibi, with the following information. First, your name and the name of the campaign or project you want to be involved in. You can also message our Facebook with your interest now.
Great, thanks, Anna. Now our other Ana Cipoleta, is going to speak to us a little bit about Matahari's Our Work, Our Worth wage claim campaign.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Anna. I will talk about our Work, Our Worth campaign. The campaign aims to raise awareness about wage theft among workers, employers, and the general public, and to win money back out to workers. Matahari seeks to inspire other workers who are owed money to pursue their cases, uplift workers' voices, and send a clear message to employers who do not pay today cannot get away with this practice. Unfortunately, despite nearly 50 years of exceeding legal protections in Massachusetts, nannies and other domestic workers continue to struggle to obtain overtime pay when they work more than 40 hours a week. In the 2019 survey that Matahari had done, only 24% of respondents reported receive overtime pay to the legally mandated rate of time and a half. When it comes to wage out, nearly 10% of domestic workers report that they are owed money, while approximately 17% of respondents were not sure. Uncertainty over money owed can be due to certainty regarding overtime work and protections. If domestic workers are certain whether they are entitled to overtime pay, we expect, therefore, the insignificant percent of nearly 17% of workers who responded that they are not sure whether they are owed money and have, in fact, experienced wage theft. Additionally, we might expect that workers who reported not being owed money, the non-payment overtime pay legally mandatory rates to time and a half. The results on the 2019 pay survey shows the importance of a writing contract. Dispute the legal requirements to have a signed writing contract between employers and employee. Approximately 65% of domestic workers report not having a writing contract. So this percentage stands out because an analysis of the raw data shows the writing contract are beneficial for domestic workers. 97% of domestic workers who reported having a writing contract have some kind of paid time off, and on the other hand, only 58% of those who do not have writing contract receive paid time off. With these statistics, we realize that even though there are protections law for domestic workers, they still suffer wage theft, and we hope that with a campaign to help provide the necessary support to obtain back wages. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning, everyone again. My name is Angela Foster. I'm a member leader with Matahari Women Workers Center. So now I will share with you what we've learned from Matahari's listening campaign that was launched on April 7th, 2020. So in 10 days, 13 Matahari members called 92 workers to learn about their experiences during the COVID and inform workers about resources and upcoming events. We're compiling the results and will hold a community report back on May 7th to share what we've learned and how this will shape Matahari's COVID response work. Some themes that have already emerged through the results include job loss and employment insecurity, financial stress, general stress, fear, and other mental health impacts. So join us in the coming weeks and on May 7th as we discuss our action steps related to the listening campaign. We know many people have urgent needs, so stay tuned on this call to learn about support funds and other resources that are available. Okay, so alongside the listening campaign, we have been compiling some of the most frequently asked questions. And those questions are asked by domestic workers regarding their rights during the pandemic. Okay, so here we go. Anna?
Hi, everyone. I'll be asking questions and Angela will be answering them. The first one is, do I have rights as an undocumented worker?
So yes, nearly all labor laws protect all workers, including undocumented workers. Some benefits require work authorization in the US, like unemployment insurance, but most other laws protect all workers.
I have heard that state and local governments have declared state of emergency. Am I allowed to continue working?
Yes, you certainly are allowed to work, because while certain businesses have had to close down or alter their operations, there are no restrictions on domestic workers who work in private households. Domestic workers are essential now and always.
Am I entitled to sick time as a domestic worker in Massachusetts?
Yes, because all workers in Massachusetts must be provided with up to 40 hours of sick leave per year, earned at the rate of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. Unless your employer has 11 or more employees, this sick leave is not required to be paid. It is, however, job protected, meaning that you cannot be fired for taking the sick leave that you have earned. So if your employer agreed to more sick time or to pay for sick time in your contract, then you're entitled to these terms. So as a domestic worker, you have the right to a written employment contract in which you can clarify the protections you need, like paid sick leave, even if it is not required by law. So sick time can be used when you're sick or you have an injury or to address the effects of domestic violence. It can also be used when your child, spouse, parent, or the parent of your spouse is sick or has an injury. You can also use it when you, one of your family members, has a routine medical appointment. But the law does not require employers to allow you to use the sick time to avoid getting sick. But during the current crisis, many employers may be more flexible about the use of sick time. So you should always ask your employer for flexibility under these circumstances.
Next question. Can my employer fire me because of the coronavirus pandemic? If I am fired, what are my rights?
By law, your employers can fire you without notice, including because of the coronavirus pandemic. But if you're fired due to discrimination, there are legal protections. So if you're a living domestic worker, you have the right to 30 days notice and housing in current accommodations or similar. You also have the right to severance pay equal to 2 weeks. If you're not a living worker, you do not have a right to notice or severance pay unless specified in your contract. Some domestic workers have provisions in their contracts that require employers to give them 2 weeks or 1 month of notice.
Can my employers tell me not to come to work and then not pay me?
Yes, unless you and your employers have agreed guaranteed pay, they can. If your employer agreed to guaranteed pay, and if you're willing and able to work, but your employers tell you not to come in, then they must still pay you.
Can I get unemployment benefits?
If your hours have been reduced or you have been laid off, you can receive unemployment benefits if you're eligible. To receive unemployment, you have to have authorization to work in the United States. You also must have earned $5,100 during the last 4 calendar quarters and meet other eligibility requirements. Okay, and the fastest way to file unemployment insurance claim is online, but Matahari can also help you to navigate the unemployment benefits. Go ahead,
Are
Anna.
there other sources of financial support?
Okay, actually, Matahari is organizing 3 worker-led emergency relief funds to help immigrant workers who are facing financial hardship during the coronavirus crisis. And these funds are specifically to support immigrant workers who cannot access state or federal relief, like unemployment or stimulus checks. Okay, now Anna Cipolletta can tell you more about these funds. Anna?
Thank you, Angela. Matahari Emergency Funds, we have 4 options right now. And the first one is Mass Undocu Fund. And relief funds to estimate 400,000 undocumented workers, immigrants who live and work in Massachusetts and do not qualify for federal assistance such as FEMA and unemployment. It was created by grassroots immigrant organizations and working centers, including Matahari, Jail with Justice, and One Fair Wage. And you can access these funds by applying online at massundocufund.org/apply. Second, Matahari Care Fund provides emergency assistance to Matahari members experiencing financial hardship due to the coronavirus pandemic, including those working in the service and hospitality industries. The application for Matahari Care Funds goes live next week. Please follow our Facebook page for announcements of when it's open. And the third one will be National Domestic Worker Alliance Care Fund. Provides $400 in emergency assistance for home care workers, nannies, and house cleaners who are experiencing financial hardship due to the coronavirus pandemic. The fund prioritizes domestic workers who have participated in activities of the National Domestic Workers Alliance, NDWA, and affiliate organizations, including Matahari. Matahari is helping to administer these funds in Massachusetts. The application for National Domestic Workers Alliance Care Funds is the same as the application for Matahari Care Fund. So, and again, please follow our Facebook page for announcements about when applications will be open. It's launching this weekend, and they are starting to fundraise in the first phase, and we'll share details about how to apply soon. It is a national fund created by nannies and nanny agency owners, and we are working with the Boston Nanny Center to ensure that the fund is accessible to all nannies regardless of immigration status. Thank you.
Gracias.
Now, just like Ana Cipoleta said in her introduction about our work, our worth, Matahari's wage claim campaign. Many domestic workers experience wage theft during this pandemic. Even more domestic workers may experience wage theft. So what is wage theft? Wage theft is the illegal practice of denying workers full compensation or income for the work they have done. If you think your current or past employer owes you money, Matahari can also support you in winning back those wages. If you think your current or past employer owes you money, you might be experiencing wage theft. So, wage theft has 6 stages or 6 lives, like Matahari has called them. So the life number 1 is when you're not getting paid for all the hours worked. Number 2, it's when you're getting paid less than the minimum wage. Kyla, next slide, please. Number 3, when you're not being paid overtime. So number 4, it's any illegal deduction from your pay that they said they will pay you a certain amount and then they make those deductions. Number 5, it is when you are classified as an independent contractor. Number 6 is when you paid less than the amount in the contract. Is when you had a contract, they told you they were going to pay you a certain amount, but they pay you less in that. Next slide. Matahari's Our Worth campaign claim supports workers in winning back the wages they are owed. If you think you may have a wage claim, or if you want to support other workers pursuing their wage claims during the pandemic, please contact Matahari's lead organizer, Julia.
Thank you, Erica. Now, National Domestic Workers Alliance, NDWA, is organizing its membership to push for better legal protections for home care workers, nannies, house cleaners, and online platform workers during the coronavirus crisis. As an affiliate organization of NDWA, Matahari is also making the same policy demands. Matahari is fighting for 10 policy points that will protect domestic workers during this crisis. 1, protective equipment, safety information, and safety training in all languages so that domestic workers who still need to go to work during the pandemic can protect themselves against health risk. 2, assistance with childcare and elderly care while you work. Higher rates for those who are still working so that their wages reflect the increased risk of their work. 6, ensure free testing and healthcare treatment regardless of insurance coverage or immigration status. Increase direct cash assistance for everyone and extend this direct cash assistance to undocumented immigrants. Ensure everyone is able to remain in their homes, including a moratorium on evictions, waiving rent/mortgage payments, and financial assistance with rent. Food assistance for all, regardless of immigration status. Pay time off if you or a family member is sick. and stop all immigration enforcement like deportation and ICE raids and release immigrants in detention. Lastly, unemployment insurance that is available to all workers regardless of work arrangement and immigration status.
Before coronavirus hit, we had originally plans to host our 7th annual International Nanny Training Day on this day, April 18th. International Nanny Training Day is the one day every year on which more than 200 nannies, au pairs, and other childcare workers convene for a full day of community building, professional development, and know your rights education. It's a very moving event because it's a really rare opportunity to be immersed and surrounded by the power of immigrant working women. We were very sad to have to postpone itin and TT this year, but we hope that we could surface some of that same power right now by sharing our stories with you. So Anna C, do you want to start us off?
Hi again. Well, all you know, I'm Ana Cipoleta, and I would like to share this story about my experience being a nanny. So I'm a nanny with 19 years of experience. And I remember my first nanny job. I have no experience, much less no idea of protection laws. I suffer a lot of labor abuse due to lack of information and fear of losing my job. But when I got my second family, I realized the value of my job and lost my fears of speaking out of my rights, but was still afraid to speak. And 6 years ago, I met a Matahari leader. I was relieved to know that I was not the only one who needs information to help. As a member of Matahari, I am more than informed of my rights and needs of our community. After I attend to my first INTD, I become a member, and being a Matahari leader gives me the strength and demonstrate that we are the essential workers in the community, that we must be treated with respect and dignity.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Angela Foster again. And I just want to share a little about my story, which is probably similar to Anna's. Yeah, I started out 20 years ago. I got my first nanny job, and I remember putting on the diaper for the first time. I did not even know how to put on a disposable diaper. And the employee, she was standing over my shoulder and she was looking at me as if to say, does she know what she's doing? Lo and behold, I put the diaper on wrong. I turned it around. And she said, you may want to turn it around. Since then, I've turned around over 30 diapers in Greater Boston. 30 children's diapers, I should say. Anyway, so I did not know I had rights as a domestic worker, because coming from the corporate world in Jamaica, being undocumented, and anyone who's undocumented knows that once you have a job, you want to hold that job, so you are not going to speak out. So 7 years ago, my father died, and I was reeling in grief, and the family I was working with for 2 years, I've never asked for time off, never. So I asked for some time to grieve, because grieve my father's death. And when I asked for that time, I was let go. And amidst my tears, I said to them. And shortly after that, a friend invited me to National Nanny Training Day then. I remember being very reluctant to go because, of course, it's a Saturday and you have a gazillion stuff to do. But I went nevertheless. And I became a member instantly. Now I'm a member leader with Matahari. I'm a member of the board of National Domestic Workers Alliance Nanny Council. I've been featured in the New York Times several times and gone on to give several speeches in Massachusetts and around the world, Brazil, you name it, because of Matahari. So that is why my end game is to fight for everyone, employers, everyone to know that domestic workers are humans too. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Anastasia Kun again. And I have been a nanny for about 20 years now. And in those 20 years, I have worked with many wonderful families and some others that were not so wonderful. I'm going to share a story for when I applied for a job. So I got 2 interviews. I went to the interviews and they went very well. They liked me. The baby loved me. He wanted to be with me the whole time. Yes, after the second interview, I got offered the job. So I was there for about 3 hours and I was playing with the baby and mom was there the whole time. So at the end of the day, she told me that they really, really loved me and they would like to keep me as their nanny, new nanny. She said, but since you're from African descent, we know that a lot of Africans have HIV. Yeah, we don't feel comfortable with you working with our son without giving us a test. So can you do an HIV test? So I was told that the next time I went to their house, I had to have the HIV test in hand to make sure that I did not have any HIV. I was very excited that I got offered the job because I really wanted the job. It had very good benefits, but also humiliated. Even though I felt down when I left, I wanted the job so badly. I was crazy to even consider to work for people like that, but I wanted the job. I was so desperate to have a job. So when I left, I called my doctor's office. I asked for an HIV test. So the nurse called me back about 2-3 hours later. And she asked me why you need an HIV test. So I explained to her that I just got a job and they told me that I couldn't start before giving the test results. So the nurse was very upset. And she told me that she was not gonna give me any HIV test because that was illegal and the family was discriminating against me and it was illegal. At the time, I did not understand why she did that, but I was glad that she refused and I did not get the test and I did not get the job. And in my Matahari, I've learned about my rights. And if I ever go to a job like that, next time I will just tell them on the spot, no. Nannies are human beings like like Anna and Angela said, and we deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And I'm very happy that now nannies are being seen as essential workers because yes, we are essential workers.
Y me quedo feliz que ahora las niñeras son vistas como trabajadores esenciales, porque sí, somos esenciales.
And I hope that we are treated like essential workers with good pay, good benefits. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Anna. And then Erika, if you want to share your story, welcome.
So my story is that I'm Erika Perez, and I was a domestic worker for about 10 years. I was cleaning houses while I was studying in college. And when I was working for these employers, I was classified as an independent contractor, and I didn't have any benefits at all. So one of the difficult things that I experienced was when the owners of these houses or my employers went on vacation and for 3 weeks or a month, and they only said, "Oh, Erika, I'm so sorry. There's no need for you to come and clean my house." Like many of my colleagues, compañeras have said, I didn't know about all of these things. I could have had a contract
I could have got an agreement with them, but I didn't know. And that is why I encourage anybody who's a nanny, who is cleans houses, or any type of domestic worker, to learn about your rights, and to join Matahari in this case. They are doing an amazing job in the Boston area. And so I ask anybody out there to join that, learn about your rights, empower yourself. So I just want to say lastly that the work the domestic workers do, it's a dignifying job. And we have been essential. Now in this pandemic, we're called essential, but we have been essential. And thank you for the space. Gracias por el espacio.
So thank you.
Yay, Erica.
Stories. Woo, yeah. Thank you all for sharing your stories. I'm always inspired by all of your power. And hopefully everybody who's tuning in is also inspired, because there's lots of opportunities to get involved with Matahari. If you are interested in continuing the celebration of domestic workers, we are having an online national dance party tonight at 5 p.m. East Coast time. We have a Facebook event on our Facebook page for the dance party, so you can check there for how to tune in. If you are interested in learning more about Matahari, or if you want to talk with other community members, you can call our conference line next Wednesday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. for a new member orientation. We'll also share this information in the comments, so you don't need to scramble to write it down. On Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m., we are going to do a full community report back about our listening campaign results. If you're interested in attending, you can either message our Facebook page or contact Julia, our lead organizer. You can also message our Facebook page right now to join Matahari's Our Work, Our Worth wage claim campaign, our listening campaign, or become a Matahari member. Now, Ana Estancia is going to tell us a little bit about the We Dream in Black survey.
This is Anastasia again. I am the survey organizer in Massachusetts for We Dream in Black. I'm going to talk first about who We Dream in Black is. We Dream in Black is a national initiative to build leadership, voice, and power of all Black domestic workers. Now I'll talk a little bit about the survey. We will be conducting a survey. The results will be used as we get them to create policy recommendations and to highlight issues that we are facing. And there will be an incentive of $25 gift card for each participant of the survey. And I hope you can all participate. If you're interested, you can, and you have any question, you can email me at anastasia@domesticworkers.org. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ana. So again, we're going to share all of that information in the comment section. Now we're going to open it up for a question and answer with Audrey from Greater Boston Legal Services. I don't actually have the comment section up, so I cannot see the questions coming in. So if any of you have the comment section up and see questions, feel free to read them out.
Yes, almost all the laws that everybody was talking about on this presentation do apply to all workers, with a few exceptions. So, for instance, the laws about payment of wages and overtime apply to everybody, regardless of the type of job or immigration status. The unemployment benefits are for everybody, If you are eligible, and actually, but for that one, you do need to have work authorization. The sick time law applies to everybody, all types of work. There are a few areas in which domestic workers actually have even stronger rights than other types of workers. So for example, the requirement for a written agreement and notice to preserve your housing if your job is being ended, those are only for domestic workers. And there's some details that are clarified in the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights about the number of hours that you need to be paid for if you're a live-in domestic worker. So a few of those protections are extra for domestic workers. But absolutely, all of I think everything that Anastasia and Angela were talking about applies to everybody. So I guess one example, for instance, is that most workers, something that would apply to domestic workers but not to others, is that most workers in Massachusetts don't have a contract or an agreement that really spells out everything that their employer is committing to do. But under the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights, employers of domestic workers are required to have that kind of agreement.
Thanks, Audrey. We have another question. Is an employer required to pay you full or part-time as a daycare worker or other type of worker if you are not going to work during the pandemic? What about if you're undocumented?
In most cases, if an employer has shut down because of the pandemic, they're not going to be required to pay you unless you have an agreement for guaranteed pay as a domestic worker. In some situations, if you have one of the reasons that you are not doing your work is not that the employer shut down, but that you have a personal reason that's covered by the sick time or leave laws for not working, it may be that you can take sick pay, sick time, or leave time, and in those situations, your employer would have to pay you. And that can include taking care of your own child because they're out of school or daycare because of the pandemic. So it really depends what the reason is that you're not working.
Y entonces depende mucho de la razón por la cual no esté trabajando.
And does that extend to undocumented workers as well?
Yes, all the rights for sick pay or emergency leave to take care of a child who's out of school or daycare apply to everybody regardless of immigration status.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions from the comments section, and then I think we'll have to close out. Can you claim unemployment benefits with an itin number? And who can apply for unemployment / how should they do so?
So unfortunately, you cannot claim unemployment benefits with an itin number. You need to have a social security number and authorization to work in the United States. But it can be any kind of work authorization. You don't need to be a citizen or have a green card or anything. Whatever type of work authorization, as long as it is real and legitimate work authorization, is good enough. It's also helpful to know that there are definitely people whose work authorization card has expired if you look at the card, but the government has extended it because automatically. So for instance, if you have TPS, you are work authorized right now, even if your card looks like it is expired. And I know that a lot of people have applied to have their work authorization renewed, but have not gotten the new card in time. In those situations, the work authorization is also generally extended. And right now, the unemployment agency is completely overwhelmed. So it's very difficult to get in touch with them by phone. So it's really necessary to apply for benefits online, which is a form that is in English and Spanish only. But my office and other folks are helping people file their unemployment claims online, and also helping get the problems fixed after the claims are filed, because the whole unemployment agency is completely messed up and claims are having a lot of problems that are causing the benefits to be delayed and improperly denied.
Great, thank you, Audrey. We'll take one more question from the comment section. If anyone who's tuning in has more questions, you can still comment, or even better, message our Facebook page. And we'll compile all of the questions that we did not get to, and we'll get back to you with answers soon. So our last question for today is, how do you help people without documentation in this COVID crisis who was laid off from jobs?
So I know that a lot of people who don't have papers are finding this to be just an incredibly difficult time, even more so than, everybody's finding it difficult, but it's especially hard for people who are undocumented. As I think Anna described, there's a lot of organizations that are really working very hard to get donations in and money from foundations to create funds to help support people who, because of their immigration status, do not have the option of receiving unemployment benefits or other types of benefits from the government. So I know that information is coming about the Matahari Fund, about the Nanny Relief Fund, and there's also, I think, and also hopefully soon, the National Domestic Workers Alliance Care Fund. And, and then of course, in different communities, there's other efforts to make food available to families who don't have cash on hand right now. Also, there right now, a landlord cannot evict you for failing to pay rent because the courts are closed. And also, hopefully, there will be a new law stopping it from happening even when the courts are open. So people should know that under those circumstances, it's probably okay right now for rent not to be the highest priority for people, because you can't be kicked out of your house right now for failing to pay your rent, at least right now.
Yeah, thank you for that information, Audrey. And again, I just wanted to uplift that Matahari is organizing a couple of different worker-led emergency relief funds. 3 of them are aiming to mostly support domestic workers. So that's the Matahari Care Fund, NDWA Care Funds, and the Nanny Care Fund. The 4th fund that we're helping to support, Mass Undocu Fund, would be open to any undocumented immigrant. So you don't need to be a domestic worker to apply for that one. We're sharing all of this information again in the comments. And if you're looking for further resources, you can visit our website, mataharijustice.org, for more resources. All right, we're going to make an exception for one last question.
Yes, can a nanny be fired if she asks for PPE from the employers? Is it legal for the nanny to be fired?
So in this moment, I mean, certainly to be asking for protective equipment, or if there's a reasonable belief that there's a risk of exposure or a hazardous working environment, should be protected by the law. But again, I think, it's reasonable to say that right now, any workplace is a hazardous workplace.
Great. Great, thank you so much for all of your answers, Audrey.
Sure.
So again, if you're tuning in and we didn't have a chance to answer your question, you can still send your question to our Facebook page. We'll compile all questions for our next webinar in this series. For now, though, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our wonderful member leaders on the call, to Audrey and to Brendan.